Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to the new series Quran Daily for the holy month of Ramadan, where we take a short chapter of the Quran and we take a look at it and we dive into it so that we can share it and release a Quranic video every day. Today we're going to look into Sourat Al-Falaq, which is the second of the Mu'awwidhat that we referenced in the previous episode. So it's also one that is common, found in a lot of houses, and we're going to dive into it and see what it means. My name is Ahmed, and on the call with me I have Captain Ahmad. Say hello, Captain.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be with you guys.
And we're going to jump straight into it. But as usual, before we begin, we must say we're not scholars in the Arabic language, nor are we scholars in Quranic studies. We're merely undergoing a journey learning about the Quran and sharing our learning with you. So if you have any different perspectives, please feel free to drop a comment, share your expertise with us, share your perspective, and we will happily engage with you in the comments. And before we begin, we must always say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which means I seek refuge from God from the devil, and in the name of God, who's most merciful and whose mercy is most encompassing. Over to you, Captain.
سورة الفلق. It says قل أعوذ برب الفلق. هلا السورة اللي قبليها سورة الناس برضو ربنا بيقول للنبي محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام قل أعوذ برب الناس. وهي السورة بتقول قل أعوذ برب الفلق، واللي بعديها قل هو الله أحد.
In the previous chapter that we read, Surah An-Nas, it started with قل أعوذ برب الناس, and this chapter starts with قل أعوذ برب الفلق. So the difference is what there is being said. And then the next chapter that we're going to do, Al-Ikhlas, also says قل هو الله أحد. So every time it's saying say, it's a command. And here, if I understood you correctly, you're saying that this is a command to the Prophet, but is this not a command to all of us?
It is. Anything God ordered Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to do or say, we automatically are ordered by God to do and say exactly what he told Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Okay, clear. So what does this first verse say? قل أعوذ برب الفلق.
أعوذ برب الفلق. كلمة فلق معناها separating something into two, or cracking the nut, like it's opening something.
Okay. So the translation that I see before me is daybreak. Is that, are they talking about dawn? Are they talking about daybreak? Or are you talking, is it just a separation of two things?
It is considered as a separation of any two things. مثلا في سبحان الله فالق الإصباح. فالق الإصباح, he cut the night into daylight.
Yeah.
من الصبح. فلق الشيء من شيء. يعني he separated two things from each other.
Separated two things, such as daybreak from like daylight from nighttime. There's a separation between them. Is there another example of falaq that is not daybreak or daylight?
The word falaq means separating two things from they are already one, and then they separate them to two different things.
Okay. But I mean,
like splitting the atom, if you like, maybe. I don't know.
Does that work for atom splitting as well? Would you say it? Can you give?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay, let's keep it to. It's just the split between dawn and like night and day, day and night. So I seek refuge of the Lord of the dawn, the Lord of the separation of the two, like the one who has created.
From what?
From what?
From what? من شر ما خلق.
Okay.
From any evil that is around us,
well,
whether we are aware of or not aware of.
Actually, specifically, it says from the evil of what He created.
God created everything.
Correct.
What is evil? It's the absence of good, the absence of justice. So
Yeah.
God didn't create evil.
I don't know.
People.
God created everything, and everything within it includes the jinn that have disobeyed God, includes God also created them. It's not that they accidentally happened. It was very much God's intention, because God's all powerful and God's all capable.
But we can spend months talking about this word, khalaq. He created. God created everything, but he didn't create injustice.
Yes, he did.
Injustice is a human creation. People can be unjust. Men can be criminals. Men can be liars. Men can be good. Men can be generous. Men can be obedient. Men can be anything. So yes, God created everything, but in fact, it's us, it's we who are doing evil, doing wrong.
Well, this verse is
God
saying,
created us, and we created evil. So automatically you can tie this to that and say God created evil, or evil.
sure, but this verse specifically
But
says,
in actuality, God does not create evil or crime, or
but that's not what this verse is saying. This verse is saying, min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of what he created.
because He created people who became evil.
So you're saying it's the consequence of the humans that he created, not the consequence of God. But
Exactly.
if God created humans with the capability of evil, then isn't that the same thing?
You can take it whichever way you like. I wouldn't attach the evil to God in any way.
It's just the way that I see it
Period.
from this verse. It says, min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of what he created. Like,
And we explained that God created the humans, and some humans create evil, do evil.
yeah, I mean, that's always kind of like the biggest philosophical discussion that you can have. If God exists, then why does cancer exist? Why does like terrible things exist? Why do horrible things exist? And the answer is we don't know, but we do know that God created everything, and therefore God created these circumstances and situations that have allowed for evil to exist. It's not like God created humans and then was surprised that they, or maybe he is surprised. I don't know. I don't exactly know how it works. That's also kind of the point of the discussion. But it's God is all powerful, all knowing.
God never gets surprised.
Which is what I believe. So I believe that everything that is happening, even the evil things, are well within God's knowledge, domain, power, and will. Let's say.
God allowed people to do what they wanted to do.
Sure.
They are capable of doing good and evil.
And he gave
And
them
in
the
both
power.
cases, he gave them the power, and the consequences of doing good or evil is not an act of God. It's the act of human being. And only them will bear the consequences.
I understand, but it's okay. I think we might be getting too philosophical. Let us know in the comments what you think about this. Is it God's? Did God create evil? Is it a byproduct? Like, I mean, for me, it's the same thing. But for you, there's a difference between humans creating evil and God creating humans who created evil. You know. Anyway, the verse is saying, "قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ." I seek refuge from God of the dawn, from the evil of what He has created. And can we get more examples of that? Next verse.
من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب. غاسق إذا وقب، الغاسق هو ظلمة الليل.
The darkness of night.
في آية في القرآن الكريم بتقول أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل وقرآن الفجر إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا.
So there is a verse in the Quran that says that you have to pray until the middle of the night. It's hard for me to.
The beginning of the night.
The beginning of the night.
أقم الصلاة طرف من أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل. دلوك الشمس اللي هي بعد الظهر، العصر، يعني صلاة العصر.
So apparently after the sun has passed its axis, when it's in the afternoon from the afternoon until the middle of the night?
The time, the night is clearly a night. It's not just a dusk.
Okay.
It's clearly night. You can see the stars.
Let's leave that verse
هذا غسق الليل.
to when we refer to it, we understand that غاسق means complete darkness. But ومن شر ما غاسق.
ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب. الغاسق اللي هو بيحصل، أيوة، الغاسق هو الشر اللي بيحصل بدخول الليل. لأنه أغلب المجرمين، أغلب الجرائم، أغلب القتل، أغلب هذا بيحصل بالليل. أغلب المعاصي بتحصل بالليل.
So what Captain Ahmad's saying is that the evil that is done at night, because there's a lot of evil that's done at night, a lot of thievery, a lot of robbing, a lot of murder, done under the cover of night. So this is asking for refuge from the evil that's done in the darkness. What does waqab means? When it grows?
Waqab, if it attacks, if the event suddenly attacks you without prior notice.
Okay. From the evil of the night when it grows dark. إذا وقب, when it's translated to spreads. I kind of want to see. Oh wow, I didn't mean to do that. Let's just see. وقب, and he came when it comes suddenly, when it spreads, when it goes.
When it happens suddenly without prior notice.
Sure. Next. Yeah.
ومن شر النفاثات في العقد.
Yeah, this is an interesting expression. And from the evil of the blowers.
انت قول لي شو.
Okay.
ايوه.
From the blowers of the knots. So here.
ايوه. تمام.
What does that mean?
Now, the word نفاثات, aircrafts are called نفاثات.
Aircraft are called blowers. Okay.
Jets.
Okay, because they propel a lot of jet engine, a lot of air in one direction. So here it's the act of moving air.
تمام. من شر النفاثات في العقد. العقد اللي هي النوتس. هلا هذا هو المعنى الظاهري للآية. This is the obvious first face value meaning of the verse. However, كتب التفسير that explain the verses of the Quran takes this verse to an entirely different direction. It says النفث هو النفخ الهواء ببطء. The نفث is blowing air slowly. في العقد مش النوتس، العقدة إنه في التعاقد. Contracts.
Oh, so in other words, meaning of instead of knots, it's contracts. Yeah.
Contracts. Yes. And it's referring to women whispering quietly, calmly to their husbands to change things within them that they are not able to change themselves.
Okay, so this is like, I want to call this meaning number 2, because the way that I learned it when I was younger is that these were, as the translation I see before me, and from the evil of witches casting spells by blowing onto knots. Before they used to tie knots, and they used to blow onto them to create magic so that they can affect somebody, curse them, do something for them. But the way that you're describing it is it's a metaphorical slow blowing into contracts. So spreading words to kind of ruin people and using the word of gossip or slander to kind of affect these contracts, affect these people. And that's the kind of evil for it, which honestly, it could be both. It could be either. Both make sense. One is spellcasting, which I completely understand. The other is just using rumor and gossip and slander to ruin contracts between people. I also think that makes a lot of sense.
However, another كتب تفسير, other tafsir books talked in this verse. They gave us a story from the hadith. It's not in the Quran. That somebody in Mecca made witchcraft to Prophet Muhammad, and it tied in knots on it and kept on saying, casting a spell on those knots. Now, this is a hadith. And as far as I'm concerned, this hadith cannot be correct at all.
Oh.
Because if we do accept this story that somebody in Mecca has made witchcraft against Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, this will contradict completely with another verse in the Holy Quran,
which says
because the non-believers of Mecca, of Arabian Peninsula, said in one verse, إن تتبعون إلا رجلا مسحورا. You're only following a bewitched person, meaning Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And this is impossible. Prophet Muhammad can never be bewitched or subjected to any witchcraft.
No, okay. I think we're jumping into logical conjectures. They said he was mashur, which means they say he was bewitched. It doesn't mean the Quran. Did the Quran say that he couldn't be bewitched?
If we accept the hadith that said that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was bewitched, then we are denying that verse.
No. The verse is not saying that he can't be bewitched. The verse is only saying that they thought he was bewitched. Just because they thought he was bewitched doesn't mean that he was or he wasn't bewitched, and doesn't mean that someone could have. And also another point is, just because someone attempted to bewitch him doesn't mean they were successful. This verse is saying from the evil blowers, protect us from the evil of blowers on knots. So it's possible that someone tried to bewitch him, but he was protected because he kept saying this verse, for example.
If you want to understand it this way, you can. I understand it in a different way.
But anyway,
because I have read the Quran more times than I care to remember. Anyway, shall we continue?
Yeah. So the main point is, again, we're seeking refuge from God, the God of the dawn, from everything from the evil of what He has created, from the evil of the darkness and when it spreads, from the evil deeds of darkness and when it spreads, from the evildoers of the blowers of the knots, be they spellcasters, be they spreading slander, gossip, and yeah. And next.
وَمِنْ شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ, from the evil of envy and envious people.
So here I think we have to take a moment to kind of explain what is the evil of envy and what is the belief that Arabs have in the Middle Eastern culture. Also in other cultures as well, but Middle Eastern.
Envy means specific thing. If you see somebody who has more money than you do, you have many options. One, you say, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah, good for him. You're not envying him, you're happy for him. You're happy he's rich. But if you say, why God gave this man more money and I have nothing, I wish all he has becomes mine. That's envy. That's envious.
So is there also a difference between envy and jealousy?
Jealousy is in competition. Envy is in material things. If somebody got married, he didn't have any children, and he sees somebody around him in the same family or the same area he lives in, a guy who has 10, 15 children, mashallah. He says, God, why did you give him 10, 15 children and he gave me nothing? Give me one of them at least. Give me two. He's asking asking God to take a blessing God gave to people, to take part of it to himself, wishing that this was yours, not his. هذا حسد.
Okay. So I mean, it's the act of wanting someone to have less and wanting you to have more, specifically because you see somebody has more than you, or you think that you have somebody has more than you. So in our culture, when you do this act, when you do envy somebody, when you have that desire within your heart, then that creates some sort of energy, affection, and that then bad things can start happening to that person if they do not protect themselves using verses such as these. And if anything, the Quran is kind of confirming that, because it's asking humans to pray for protection against this type of thing, against envy. So if anything, I understand the Quran as saying this is a thing that is real and it can affect you negatively, and that you have to protect yourself against it.
Questions?
No, it's clear. So this is the second of the Mu'awwidat, which says قُلْ أَعُوذُ, seek refuge. I'm very curious to see why the next chapter that we read in the next episode is also called the Mu'awwidat, but we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, we hope you enjoyed us on this journey into Sourat Al-Falaq. And as usual, we always end with صدق الله العلي العظيم. Thank you all for watching, and catch you guys tomorrow. Bye, Captain.
Bye.